everyone, and welcome to Club 4 episode 18 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we are at the fairly early stages of a new season with Manchester City. Last season we were held away from the title by Liverpool, but only by a few points, and today is the first time in which we play them in the league. And so you can see that it's absolutely vital that we get a good performance and a good result, because minute amounts of points drops can have such a big impact in the race for the title. So, Man City versus Liverpool, first game of the Premier League season for us to play each other. Let's go and see what happens. So just to let you know, today in the UK is really warm, so I'd normally have all my windows open, but I can't because there's a guy next door drilling at the moment, so I've had to close them all up, so I've got my fan going instead. So if you hear any noises in the background, real apologies for that. Sometimes there's nothing I can do about it. I hope they won't be too impactful at all. But here we are, Man City versus Liverpool. It's our home match against Liverpool this season. And a vital moment in which we need to create a gap between us if we can. Now, there already is a gap, 3 points. It's Arsenal that have set the early pace. We sit on 21 points with Arsenal and Man City, each with 21, but their goal difference is better. And that's what I would say. Again, it's kind of what happens with my teams, is that I think we produce some good performances. I think we are very hard to beat, but we don't often fill our boots as much as some of the other teams do around us, and that's just part of my nature, I guess. I'm not quite as attacking and gung-ho as some other managers might be, but you can see a fantastic set of fixtures. But we have already lost to Liverpool early in the season in the UEFA Super Cup. We lost 2-0 to them on that occasion. Disappointing performance more than anything, but it was very early in the season, and I was kind of hoping that we would kind of get off on the right foot and not ease up, but it didn't quite work that way. The first time we played them, it just was disappointing. So we need a much better performance today. But between the last Liverpool game and this one, we've actually been really good. Look, we've only lost a couple of goals. One of those was going through to penalties against Leicester in the League Cup, but that was with a completely rotated 11. In the Champions League, we've got an interesting group. We've got Milan, we've got Athletic Club, and we've got Young Boys of Switzerland. So those are the three that we've got in our group. I think it's a decent group, and we've already hammered Milan 3-0 away from home. So we are looking pretty good so far this season. We then beat Athletic Club 1-0 at home in the Champions League group stage as well. In between times, we've played the Manchester Derby and won that 1-0. We got wins against Palace, Villa, Bristol City, Tottenham, Leeds, all in the Premier League. So it's looking pretty good, to be honest. But just at the moment, we've got that one nagging doubt that we've already lost to Liverpool. Can we turn it around? And when it really matters in the Premier League, can we take the points? And that's what we'll be looking to do today. So let's go into the tactics page and just see what the situation there is in terms of personnel and style of play. Basically, the personnel is pretty okay. We've got the issue to Foden, obviously, which is a big blow. He's still out for a couple of months, right the way to the new year, basically, and we'll have to see what we do with him at that point. Other than that, Olata's come out of the team today, but onto the bench just because he's been playing a lot recently and has just dipped below his conditioning that I'd quite like him to have. But Villegas comes in and does a perfectly good job normally for us. Malt is coming back into the side, finding his feet, having been out for the first little section of the season, so he's not quite found it just yet. Matilla, the new guy that's come into the club, that's his rotating option in that role, has done okay for us. Hasn't, set the world alight just yet, but hopefully there's more to come from both of them. And today, Tauber gets the opportunity above McCann. McCann and Talbot both struggling a little bit in this attacking midfield role this season. Maybe it's not all done and dusted for Foden just yet. We'll have to wait and see how he comes back. But just so far, they haven't quite managed to find their feet. And the other disappointing thing so far in the early stages of the season is Vasic. And Vasic in the Premier League, 4 games, one as a substitute on top of that, has yet to score a goal. It is a big problem. He's got a couple in the Champions League already, but he hasn't scored in the Premier League. So today, just to shift it about, I've dropped him back from his attacking sort of advanced forward position that he normally plays in, and we've created the complete forward. My mind goes blank occasionally remembering all of these different roles. But yeah, we've dropped him into the complete forward and support just to bring him in line and into a bit more, into the game a little bit more, hopefully, and get him involved in the play more and see what happens with that. Because so far this season, he hasn't really hit the heights at all, and we need him to start scoring if we're going to be successful. So we've always got Gibbons on the bench, which is a good option to have, but just at the moment, we really, really need Vasic to show up. And today is the sort of game that we can do that in. In terms of the rest of it, I haven't really done much to change any of the stuff around. You can see it's all pretty much identical to what we've started the season with. And we're just going to carry on going with that. As I say, Foden's out. Collins is a periphery player anyway. He's not quite fit. And then we've got Olart on the bench. But he'd probably come in at some point. But he's playing magnificently well so far this season, along with several others. Our defensive line, as you've seen, is incredibly good. It's just about converting those chances. And it's all on the shoulders of Vasic today to see if he can do it. So, all of that means that for today's game, a really important game at home to current Premier League champions and arch nemesis Liverpool. We have Romero in goal, Rivero and Romario in central defence, Magnoni at right back, Cruz at left back, Camavinga, Malt and Talbot in central midfield, with Villegas on the right, Ulysses on the left and Vasic up top, with a bench of Cork, Cooper, Victor, Mattia, Olart, Cesar and Gibbons. So let's get into the game and see what happens. So we're using the revenge team talk. We owe Liverpool to what happened to us last game in that Super Cup game. And so go out there and get revenge on them, basically. And it got a reasonably good response so far. That's good. Can it convert itself to a good performance on the pitch? As I said, at home. So we've got to be winning this one, really, if we're going to continue to maintain momentum at the top of the table. And let's just see if we can find a way to upset them a little bit and get an early goal maybe. But it's Liverpool who had a couple of early chances and now have the first highlight of the game and have started right the way in their right fullback area in a throw-in, but have gone over the top and straight through on goal from that right side of the penalty box. But in the end, it was pushed over by the goalkeeper and out for a corner kick. Henrique with the corner kick to the near post. We get it cleared. Talbot gets on the loose ball up to Vasic. Vasic turns and runs at the penalty box straight in there. But a good covering tackle by Pavazinho, one of my former England team members. And he does a great job and puts it out for a throw-in at that point. But it doesn't lead to a further highlight. And so far, it's not going fantastically well. We're up on the possession a lot, but the actual shots aren't quite hitting the target again. And so far this season, that has been our main problem, is getting those shots that we create on target and in the back of the net. And almost Villegas rode a challenge, got slightly off balance, probably impacted his shot a little bit, puts it straight down the sights of the goalkeeper, unfortunately, but a good sighter at goal at least. And then it's another of my former England members, Tarim, with the throw-in down this left-hand side. I'm getting all of my set pieces muddled up today, free kicks, throw-ins. And again, Liverpool encroach on our final third down the right-hand side and work the ball very nicely for Kelly. He's got a good cross on him and he finds a cross, but actually on this occasion it was not a very good one, was it? Comes back out to Tarim and then it's into Ashley Luca, and there's the triumvirate of England players that we know full well. Tarim, Kelly, Luca, they've got Pavazinho. They're a very, very good side, and they've found a way to open us up. First down the right, it didn't quite work out. Down the left, and Ashley Luca wasn't being tightly marked enough, and at the near post gets to the ball first. Is there an issue here? There isn't an issue here. I didn't think there was. Gets to the ball first. The defence is a little bit static, and we go 1-0 down just at the half-time point, really. So it means that I can drag them in and then absolutely read them the riot act. And aggressively, we're going to show we owe Liverpool. Go out and show that you can do this passionately. I have faith in you. Again, for the midfield, passionately, I have faith in you. And one final time for the attacking, passionately, I have faith in you. That's built them back up. Now go out there and do it. And as soon as we can, we're going to go into the shouts, and we're going to demand more and just put the onus on them to absolutely go full bore at them. And we're going to change up from positive to attacking and just see what that does for the next few minutes. But this half is flying by. 62 minutes already. We've had no highlights whatsoever. Pause the game. Not happy about this. We've got to think about this. So what is going wrong here? What is happening? We're having the shots at goal and now some on target. We've had possession, but it's lessening slightly. Now, I wonder, do we just drop this back into a more balanced approach and then go into the team tactics and go into in possession, and maybe let's just elongate the passes slightly but bring down the tempo, and we are going to run at the defence when we get the chance. And then we're going to have some shots on sight from the edge of the box. We've got some long shooters that are pretty decent. And just change a couple of those things. Now, it's a bit counterintuitive for me to be 1-0 down and reduce it from attacking back into balance. But what I'm hoping for is it would give us more of the ball and carve out a couple more chances rather than the gun-ho approach. So if this doesn't work, then you know who to blame. But that's where we're going. And actually, before we do go any further, we're going to go in and make a couple of substitutions as well. We've got a couple of issues that I can see. Ulysses not doing particularly brilliantly. He's been fantastic since he's come back into the side this season, though. And again, Vasic up top, not finding the back of the net. And Gibbons comes in for him. And then we've got one of two choices. We can take a yellow card off, or we can take Rivero off, who's anxious. And I think we are going to take Rivero off. Now, he's fantastic, but I don't need the anxiety. I need full bore at this point. So I'll bring Cork into that central defence, who, of course, remember, is part of my former England setup and is very, very good. So I've got no worries about him playing. Now, can we carve out a chance? Can we prove that actually settling the play down a little bit gets us more than maybe chipping and charging at them would? So we've moved it into defence, onto Romario, to Cruz, playing a very dangerous game, and we've absolutely wrecked ourselves. Absolutely wrecked ourselves. Now, I think I put the passing up to sort of medium, so it's not like they had to go so short. Now, it's the tiki-taka style of play, totally. But come on, use your heads a little bit. I don't necessarily think that was my fault in changing a few things. I think that was player error, surely. I'm really, really unhappy about that. Pause the game again. Back into the tactics. Now we are 2-0 down. Now we have to go full bore. So how are we going to do it? We're going to move Villegas up. We're going to move Talbot slightly more central. We're going to move Camavinga up. And we are going to absolutely go full bore at them. We're going to go slightly more direct, much higher tempo, no time wasting, dribble less again, and let them choose what they want to do. In transition, we're going to counter press them, and out of possession, that's pretty. We're going to push the intensity up. And that's what we're going to go with. So a complete change of style of play, really. But at this point, what else can we do? This is absolutely really, really awful. It could be that 3 points is all the difference that it makes at the end of the season, possibly. Now, all it does is make them even with us again because they've already lost a game so far this season. But it's just so frustrating when your team is playing so well and looking so dominant, and then they come up against that one side that can just roll them over, and it looks like they're not even bothered to try. That's what it feels like. Look at these average ratings, 6.8s. They're not good enough. This is one of the biggest games of the season. Very frustrating. Okay, so let's go and check out where exactly we lost this in the analysis page. So again, as you can see, our heat map is interesting. We were choosing to go down the right a little bit more than down the left on this occasion. Everybody's kind of where you would expect. Maybe we should be pushing slightly higher up, but I wouldn't know necessarily, other than pushing Vasic up there a bit more, which we were doing and it wasn't working, how we do that necessarily, because ultimately the high line of engagement was what we've already got on. You can see though that it's the same for Liverpool. This is probably an area which is always blank in that sense, but we've got to get more of an impact in that penalty box. Romero was our top performer and he's our goalkeeper, so that tells you all you need to know there. And 6.5 from Ulysses. Now if we go and look at him, so far this season he's played 8 times for us, 5 in the Premier League. In the Premier League he's got 3 goals, 4 overall and an assist. He's been magnificent, and it just didn't show up in the big game, and he hasn't got the thing that says he doesn't like big games. So it's just unfortunate on the day that he didn't show up. We had issues, didn't we? Kelly has got a good cross and we didn't close him down enough. That's a problem. Magnoni has been booked. We might want to take him off, well, or ease out of challenges. Well, it didn't cause us a problem in the end, did it? And we should encourage our players to try more direct passing. But we're Man City. Surely you don't want that, really. I mean, look at that page of... That's hilarious. What are you supposed to do with that? Anyway, yeah, it was a bad day, wasn't it, really? Let's look a little bit closer, though. In terms of the action zones, it wasn't too bad. We had the bulk of the possession, I would say, which was good. We actually attacked, again, relatively well from all areas of the pitch, but none of it was working particularly, was it? The summary would suggest, let's have a look through here, the passes completion is decent, isn't it? Up to the late 80s, early 90s in terms of the pass completion is pretty decent. So that's good. Less so in the... is that in the second half, I guess? Is that the first half and the second half? Oh no, it's 55 passes completed compared to percentages. I'm getting the hang of this now. Okay. So let's go in. What I want to find out ultimately is, in terms of shots, what did Vasic do? That's what I really need to find out, because he is causing me no end of problems so far this season. So let's just make sure that we've got everything we need there. So these are the Liverpool shots, which is lovely. And that is the one Vasic shot. The entire game. I'm going to have to go into his player instructions, I think, and absolutely try and harness this a little better and get him a little bit more prolific in at least his attempts at goal, and hopefully the goals will come. But again, he drew a blank. That's sort of 5 games in a row in the Premier League where he hasn't scored. It might be time for Gibbons to have a run of games. We'll have to see. So there we go, back to the main analysis page, and it's just poor reading. We didn't get the chances where we wanted it for Vasic. The wide men, specifically Ulysses down the left, didn't really impact the game. We were missing a lot down the right, and ultimately all of that, plus a really bad error in defence, meant that Liverpool beat us 2-0, and that's how we lost the game. So I angrily suggested that they should all be in training tomorrow morning because that was so bad, and they all agreed with it, basically. You can see it's dropped us down to 3rd position on goal difference. Arsenal now have a game in hand over us, so that's not great. But let's go back into the schedule and figure out where we come back next. So we're probably looking at a sort of mid-November game. I think what we're going to do in November is we're going to shift the focus slightly, and we're going to go in for the Milan home game in the Champions League and see if we can do the double over them in our group stage. So it'll be AC Milan next episode for the Champions League group stage, and see if we can get another good win against them and potentially go through to the group early as much as we can. And then after that, we'll come back and sort of finish up the December area. Probably play Derby County because, I mean, why wouldn't we? The former club of ours, before we go into a January transfer window. So that's going to be the next couple of episodes. Today, I can't tell you how disappointed I am. I mean, look at this run. The defence was so solid all the way through. We've got a few goals here and there. And then twice in that run, Liverpool just showed that they're still better than us, unfortunately. And it's that core group of English players that they've got that are the problem. I've tried to prize a couple of them out of there, to be honest, and they're just not having it at all. I can put as much money on the table as I like, and they just look at me and go, nope. So there's nothing I can do in that front, unfortunately. But there we go. That's just where it is. So yeah, Milan next, Derby after that. I hope you're enjoying this particular series, the Rolling in the Isles. We've come a long way from where we started, and hopefully on the horizon is some silverware of some sort for this season, but we're going to have to start picking up the key points in the key moments to do it. So I hope you join me for the next episode. Thank you for joining me for this one. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. If you haven't clicked that like button for me, please do that. Helps get seen by lots of other people. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.